Hey yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to FinTV 123. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. We are going to get to the news just like we always do. We're running a little late today. But hey, we're here. We made it. I would like to do this every morning by like 10, 11 in the morning. That's my goal. So I completely failed at that today. That's all right. Hope everyone is doing well on this lovely Tuesday. It is the 1st of July. We are just about to get started. With some news. We have a lot of Nintendo, a lot of Donkey Kong in the news today. The previews are in, you guys, and the people are loving Donkey Kong. Love to hear it. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to FinTV. We have 9 stories for you today. We got about 5 big ones, and then we got like 5 small ones. And we're going to start with the Donkey Kong review roundup, everybody. All right. So we're going to start with GameSpot's preview. Just getting everything in order here. I'm just going to go read a bit of a few different previews of Donkey Kong Bonanza. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different previews that I'm going to talk about here. All right. So, Donkey Kong Bonanza review roundup. Looks like everybody is liking it. We're going to start with the GameSpot preview. GameSpot says, and this article is by Steve Watts. I like what they had to say here in the second paragraph of the article. The comparison to Nintendo 64 platforming roots struck me as I explored the final biome of my hands-on session, a woodland area surrounded by a poison lake. This was one of many sub-levels in Bananza, but each layer of the hollow earth that serves as its setting is its own standalone stage. When you jumped into a painting in Super Mario 64 or landed in a new kingdom in Super Mario Odyssey, you were presented with an open world in miniature, each with its own threats and rules of mechanics. There was always a joy to finding the contours of each space and learning it inside and out. Donkey Kong Bonanza looks like it's carrying forward this design philosophy with new layers in a very literal sense. The story revolves around burrowing deeper into the planet's core as DK and his companion Pauline search for the power to make a wish. That's GameSpot right there, and we're going to move on to Polygon. Polygon has to say, Based on, and this is by Michael McWhirter over on Polygon, and he had to say, based on my first couple hours with Donkey Kong Bonanza, it feels like the second half of a great Switch 2 launch lineup when paired with Mario Kart World. Let me read that again. Based on my couple hours with Donkey Kong Bonanza, it feels like the second half of a great Switch 2 launch lineup when paired with Mario Kart World. But unlike the so-so collectathon and that kart's racing game's free roam mode, Bonanza's big levels full of gems, treasure chests, and side missions feel incredibly compelling to explore. I can't wait to dig into Donkey Kong's new adventure at my own pace, peeling back every layer and challenge along the way. The juice is down there, and I must drink it. He has got to drink that donkey juice. I respect that. Moving on to IGN. IGN has to say, it's pretty common for me to walk away from a preview event hungry for more, but after my 2 hours were up with Bananza, I was left with the mightiest of cravings. As someone whose favorite Nintendo mascot is Donkey Kong, this seems to be shaping up to be the 3D Donkey Kong game that I have been waiting decades for. For Mario fans still waiting for Nintendo to announce the next major 3D Mario game, Bananza looks set to be a worthy substitute in the meantime. Very nice. Moving on to The Verge. Several moments, and this is by, the IGN article. I'm sorry.
Hungry.
That IGN article was by Mitchell Seltzman. And now we are at The Verge. What is this? By Cameron Faulkner. The website's giving me some issues here. Wants me to sign up. No. All right. The Verge has to say, by Cameron Faulkner, several moments of my 2-hour hands-on preview of Donkey Kong Bonanza felt like I was playing the gritty 2009 action game Red Faction Gorilla, except this time I was actually playing as a gorilla. For example, I had to level a multi-story building during a timed minigame. Just like in Gorilla, I targeted the load-bearing columns with Donkey Kong's ripped arms to quickly bring it down. Reveling in the destruction made me feel equal parts satisfied and sinister, all while Donkey Kong struck a goofy pose. Other times, I could sense a direct through line from Super Mario Odyssey and other major Nintendo franchises. The way that Donkey Kong can roll into a jump and roll out at the top of a jump feels like maneuvering with Odyssey's Cappy, while exploring the heights and depth of sub-levels and experimenting with physics is reminiscent of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But through it all, the new Switch 2 game coming out on July 17th feels above all else like it's breaking new ground as its own thing. Very nice, very nice. And moving on to our last preview we got here is with Gizmodo by Kyle Barr. I played around 2.5 hours of the upcoming game starring Nintendo's Raging Gorilla, and I couldn't stop punching at the air like there was a big rock monster standing in the way. Donkey Kong Bonanza is the kind of game that's a reminder why people keep coming back to Nintendo, even if it may not be a game that shows off the full graphics and performance power of the Switch 2. Alrighty, that's our little preview roundup of Donkey Kong. And we're moving on to story number 2. Now, for story number 2, we have another Donkey Kong story. Last Donkey Kong story of... No, there's actually going to be one small story about Donkey Kong. But after that, it's going to be the last one, I promise. Lots of Donkey Kong today, I told you guys. So, we have 4 more stories here. Big stories. And then we got a few small ones. So, number 2, we got Nintendo... Nintendo confirms Donkey Kong Bananza's developer is the same team as Super Mario Odyssey. This is from Video Games Chronicle, Andy Robinson. Although it did not mention them by name, this seemingly confirms Nintendo EPD Tokyo as the developer of Bananza. The news was confirmed during a media preview event for the Switch 2 game, in which Nintendo also said the studio behind the game is based in Tokyo. Asked for clarification, Nintendo would not confirm whether the same staff behind Odyssey were working on DK or if it was a new group within the same company. Neither would it confirm the director of the game. The last all-new 3D Mario game, Super Mario Odyssey, was released nearly 8 years ago. If Bananza is indeed developed by the Odyssey team, fans might have to wait even longer for the mascot's next adventure. Yeah, so we now know that it's the same team that developed Mario Odyssey, but we don't know much else, it seems like. Very interesting how Nintendo has their game developer company structured. Like they have multiple different EPD. They're called EPD, and there's there's EPD 1, 2, EPD 3. That's very interesting. Okay. Well, it's the same guys that made Odyssey, from what I can tell. All right, moving on. Video's having trouble loading, but we're done with Donkey Kong anyways. We are moving on to story number 3, which is a Mario Kart story. Story number 3, Mario Kart World hated change shows Nintendo still doesn't get online games.
Pet Cafe to play with me.
Thank you, Pando. 3, Mario Kart World's hated change shows Nintendo still doesn't get online games. We are at Polygon by Patricia Hernandez. To quickly recap recent events, to quickly recap recent events, the racing game's latest patch changes the way online matches work. Typically, players could vote for the next course, and one of the options provided was random. Random became the go-to option for most players because of Mario Kart's shift to an open world structure. The game still has traditional tracks, but the game still has traditional tracks, but it places them within a larger map composed of intermission segments that connect the separate levels. Let me adjust these settings here. Hopefully the videos haven't been doing that this whole time. Typically, players could vote for the next course, and one of the options provided was random. Random became the go-to option for most players because of Mario Kart's shift to an open-world structure. The game still has traditional tracks, but it places them within a larger map composed of intermission segments that connect the separate levels. Prior to the patch, when you picked random, you skipped intermissions and were placed on a traditional level instead. So players were choosing random, and because you choose random, it put you into a traditional classic track that you would do. You go around 3 times. That's what players like. They want that. With this new update, when you select random, it puts you into an intermission track, which players aren't the biggest fan of. Continuing, though they were implemented to show off Mario Kart World's core value proposition, the open world, vocal players online seemingly hate the intermission tracks. Intermission tracks by and large tend to be straightaways. And that's what fans don't like, is the intermission tracks are just straight. That's kind of really simplifying it. You know, this article is really just kind of tearing it apart and just like you know, when I'm playing this game in my lobbies, everybody that I talk to, they're all saying, yeah, you know, we might have to play some intermission tracks, but it's like they're not that bad. But you know, you go on to Reddit and everyone says it's the end of the world. So it's kind of tough to judge it. And then especially even for me, whenever I'm playing Mario Kart, I don't play in public lobbies. I'm always in a private party with like 25 people, and so this doesn't apply to me at all. So I'm unaffected. If you're affected by this, I'm sorry. I hope they fix it. I feel like it's being a little bit blown out of proportion, but hey, you know, I'm not being affected by it. But if you are, sorry, I hope they fix it. Sucks. Moving on. We are moving on to Marvel Rivals. So, story number 4, Marvel Rivals Season 3 adds Phoenix and Blade. We are at GameSpot by Blair Marnell. Okay. Jean Grey, aka Phoenix, has been rumored to be Marvel Rivals bound for a while, and now it's official. NetEase has confirmed that Phoenix will arrive in Marvel Rivals Season 3 alongside Blade, the popular vampire hunter. But their mutual enemy won't be Dracula, or any of the undead. Instead, the heroes of Marvel Rivals will be going up against one of Venom's deadliest foes, Null, the King in Black and the God of Symbiotes. Season 3 is subtitled The Abyss Awakens and is going to launch on July 11th. Phoenix will be joining the roster right away, and she will be classified as a duelist. Even without the Phoenix Force, Jean is an immensely powerful telepath and telekinetic mutant. With the Phoenix at her command, Jean is fire and life incarnate and imbued with the power of creation itself. Marvel Rivals' new map, Clintar, Celestial Husk, as a link to the Guardians of the Galaxy's favorite hangout, Nowhere. The entirety of Nowhere was constructed inside the severed head of a dead Celestial. The Celestial Husk is the rest of that Celestial's body. Interesting. Cool. More Marvel Rivals coming soon. I really appreciate NetEase, how transparent they are. I appreciate that they're giving so much to the players. They're giving free costumes left and right. I appreciate that they're listening to us. They're giving us the buffs and nerfs not that we need but deserve. You know, they're looking out for us players. They feel much more personable than Blizzard and Overwatch, where they just lie to you nonstop about PvE content. Sorry, Overwatch fans. I don't know. I just feel treated with much more respect by NetEase. I just do. Look at that Jeff skin. That looks amazing. That Jeff skin looks absolutely amazing. Who's that? Oh, is that Raccoon right there? Squirrel Girl? Wow, these skins are amazing. Look at those skins. Love that. Absolutely love that. All right, you guys. Moving on. We have our last big story of the day. We got Game Pass. Game Pass adds 9 more games in July. So it is July, and we have 9 new games for Game Pass. Those games are going to be Little Nightmares 2, to be more specific. That should be out today. We have Rise of the Tomb Raider, also out today. We have Legends of Mana, releasing July 2nd. Trials of Mana, July 2nd, tomorrow. We have Ultimate Chicken Horse coming out July 3rd. We got The Ascent, July 8th. We have Minami Lane, July 9th. The big one, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, coming July 11th. And High on Life coming to PC Game Pass July 15th. Oh, and it's coming. Okay, yeah. So I guess it wasn't on console Game Pass, so it's coming back to console Game Pass as well. Cool. That's July 15th. All right, and that was our last big story for today, you guys. We are moving on to some smaller stories now. Just a few smaller stories, and we're done for today. So, let's get on to the small stories, you guys. We have got four smaller stories before we end our day here. Starting with Call of Duty. Call of Duty making itself into the news. We got oh no. Starting the small stories with Donkey Kong again. Last time I mentioned Donkey Kong today, I promise. So, we got Donkey Kong brings Sticker Bush Symphony back. We are at Kotaku by Ethan Gatch. Few moments hit on the original. SNES like your first time hearing Sticker Bush Symphony while shooting through a labyrinth of towering thorny beanstalks in Donkey Kong Country 2's Bramble Blast levels. It's one of the best songs to ever appear in a game, alongside one of the most evocative 12-bit platforming levels ever devised. That incredible mashup hasn't been repeated since until Donkey Kong Bananza. You guys heard that right. Donkey Kong Bananza is bringing back Sticker Bush Symphony. Very cool. If you haven't heard that song, go check it out. Go give it a listen. It's a good one from Donkey Kong, Sticker Bush Symphony. Next, we got Dan the Dan in the news. This didn't really need to be in any news, but it's Dan the Dan, so I'm gonna add it because I love to talk about Dan the Dan. We got Dan the Dan Dan the Dan Collector's Edition gets a price cut. The Season 1 Collector's Edition goes from $65 to $40.78. Very cool, very cool. Moving on to our third little story here, we have Red Dead Online adds zombies, robots, and other strange tales. We're at Polygon by Claire Lewis. Red Dead Redemption 2's multiplayer mode, Red Dead Online, hasn't seen much action since Rockstar Games' 2022 announcement that it would be cutting back support for the game. But it seems the studio hasn't completely given up on the live service title, as Rockstar has just released Strange Tales of the West Volume 1, a new set of Telegram missions that introduce a multitude of strange new features to the game, including zombies and robots. All right, that's pretty cool. If you're a Red Dead Online fan, you got more stuff incoming, some zombies. I remember playing the first Red Dead Online, and I played that zombies, and it was a lot of fun, so that's cool. And moving on to our very last story of the day, you guys. On to the very last story of the day. We got Call of Duty in the news. Now, this is that Call of Duty story, you guys. Call of Duty Season 4 Reloaded patch. Call of Duty Season 4 Reloaded patch notes add attachment changes and Goofy Verdansk LTM limited time mode. So we got Season 4 Reloaded goes live in Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Warzone on July 2nd. Activision has revealed the patch notes ahead of launch, and the mid-season changes include attachment tuning, ranked play map changes for multiplayer, and a goofy Warzone limited time mode that turns players into sacks of potatoes. As for the new content, Season 4 Reloaded includes new DLC weapons, more multiplayer maps, and the return of Warzone's Resurgence ranked play. The season has a cartoon theme with cel-shaded maps and a Beavis and Butthead crossover event. There are new zombies themed community events as well, and that comes from GameSpot SE Doster. Cool. That was it. That's it, you guys. We made it. We made it to the end. That is another day of news on Tuesday, July 1st of God's year 2025. Thanks for joining me here at FinTV123, you guys. Let me check the chat, see if anyone's chatting with us. I hope that wasn't too bad. Let's see, we got Alden in the chat. Yes, DK vibes, major DK vibes today. There was a lot of Donkey Kong in the news. And that's all we had in the chat. DK vibes from Alden. Thanks for joining me, Alden. I do appreciate that. Cool. So yeah. Thanks for joining me here at FinTV, you guys. Tomorrow I promise, tomorrow we will do this earlier. This will be done earlier tomorrow, you guys. Anyway, I'm gonna do a stream a little later on, probably in a couple of hours. It's 6:30 right now. Yeah, in a couple hours I'm gonna start up a stream, maybe some Marvel Rivals, maybe some Mario Kart, maybe some Death Stranding. We'll see. Anyways, until then, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for joining me here at FinTV.